Nurse Sarah Mitchell had been working the night shift at Chicago General Hospital for 5 years, and she thought she'd seen everything. Drug overdoses, car accidents, heart attacks, death was part of the job. But when she noticed that VIP patients in the private wing were dying at an alarming rate, always between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., always from unexpected complications, she started keeping her own records. What she discovered was a systematic execution program disguised as medical care, and to expose this horrific truth, she needed help. Senator Cory Booker. It was a cold November night in Chicago. 58-year-old nurse Sarah Mitchell, daughter of a Vietnam War veteran, knew very well what working in hospitals meant. Her father, Walter Mitchell, had been treated at military hospitals in Washington when he returned from Vietnam. Sarah had been inspired to become a nurse by the quality of medical care she witnessed during that time. With 15 years of experience at Chicago General Hospital, Sarah had been working in the prestigious VIP wing for the past 5 years. This was where the Kennedy family, Chicago's former mayors, and Wall Street's biggest names received treatment. Even during the Watergate scandal era, this hospital had been seen as a safe haven for politicians. But over the past 6 months, Sarah had noticed a disturbing trend. Particularly wealthy patients aged 60 to 75, Korean War and Vietnam War veterans, were dying much faster than expected. This generation had lived through America's most powerful era and had served their country with honor. That night, during her routine check of room 314, she found 67-year-old Margaret Thompson. Margaret had served as a nurse during the Korean War in the 1950s and later founded a hospital in Chicago, a strong woman. She had pancreatic cancer, but doctors expected a full recovery. "Sarah, dear," Margaret said in a weak but determined voice, "something's not right in this hospital. My father served in field hospitals during World War II. He taught me what real medical care should look like. This is different." Alarm bells rang in Sarah's ears. Margaret was an experienced nurse. Her words couldn't be taken lightly. "What do you mean, Margaret? The medications being given, the protocols. I didn't see such things even in the 1960s. It's as if it's not for healing, but for some other purpose." Sarah spent that night thinking about Margaret's words. Was Margaret right? Were the death rates in the VIP wing truly abnormal? The next night, Sarah began keeping her own records. When she researched the deaths over the past 6 months, she was shocked. Korean War veteran General Robert Hayes, sudden cardiac arrest. Vietnam War veteran Colonel Michael Foster, unexpected complications. Pearl Harbor attack witness Mary Wilson, respiratory failure. Pentagon bureaucrat John Richardson, who worked there for 40 years, kidney failure. They all shared common characteristics: massive life insurance policies and being witnesses to America's critical historical periods. On the third night, Sarah was more careful. At 2:30 a.m., while walking down the corridor, she heard voices coming from Chief of Staff Dr. Jonathan Hayes' office. Dr. Hayes was a 55-year-old doctor who had worked in CIA medical operations in the 1980s before moving to the private sector. Sarah approached the door, and the conversation she overheard froze her. "Margaret Thompson's condition is improving better than expected," Dr. Hayes was saying. "She saw a lot during the Korean War. She's strong. But the insurance payout is $3.2 million. The family won't suspect anything." "This generation is tough," said an unfamiliar voice. "They lived through the 1960s, Watergate. They suspect everything. We need to be careful. That's why our methods are so sophisticated," Dr. Hayes continued. "We developed them while researching PTSD medications for soldiers returning from Vietnam. They won't show up in any autopsy." Sarah's heart nearly stopped. These men weren't just killers. They were using America's most respected generation's experiences against them. "Senator Booker's work on the Healthcare Committee is concerning," said another voice. "He's very curious. He's investigating these types of operations. I told you we'd handle Booker. But first, these 3 patients, Margaret, Robert, and Linda. We'll take care of all of them this week. Sarah couldn't take any more. She quickly moved away, but a decision had formed in her mind. She needed to get this information to someone, and she had heard that Senator Cory Booker, whom Dr. Hayes mentioned, was working on these issues. When Sarah went home that night, she found the number for Senator Cory Booker's office, but she knew she couldn't call directly. Instead, she called journalist Michael Torres, who wrote about Booker's healthcare reforms for the Washington Post.
Mr. Torres, my name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm a nurse at Chicago General Hospital. I've read your articles about Senator Booker's healthcare investigations. I need to speak with him about something very important.
What kind of issue?
I can't discuss it over the phone, but there's a systematic patient killing operation in hospitals. Vietnam and Korean War veterans are being targeted.
Torres's voice became serious. He was a journalist who took such allegations seriously. This is a very serious allegation. Do you have evidence?
Recordings, documents, everything. But it's very dangerous. These people will try to kill me, too.
Do you think you could meet with Senator Booker?
He's my only hope. He's on the healthcare committee and investigates these kinds of things. Maybe he'll believe me.
Torres gave Sarah the number of Booker's personal assistant. Give my name. They'll take you seriously. Sarah called the next morning. Booker's assistant, Janet Williams, was a former FBI agent experienced in evaluating such allegations.
Miss Mitchell, Senator Booker is currently in Washington, but he's coming to Chicago next week. We can arrange a secret meeting.
We can't wait that long. More people will die.
Well, could you speak with the senator by phone, on a secure line?
Sarah's heart raced.
Yes, please.
That afternoon, Senator Cory Booker called Sarah. Ms. Mitchell, tell me what you've discovered. Sarah told the entire story. She talked about the recordings, the abnormal deaths, Dr. Hayes' CIA connections. Booker listened patiently. Ms. Mitchell, these are very serious allegations. If they're true, we're not talking about just a few patients, but a systemic problem.
Exactly, Senator. This isn't just an operation targeting wealthy elderly people. It's targeting America's most respected generation, people who served our country.
You need to bring your evidence to Washington. But first, we need to get you to a safe place. Senator Booker immediately took action for Sarah's safety. He sent his former FBI colleague, Daniel Rodriguez, to Chicago. Rodriguez was an experienced agent who had worked on organized crime operations in the 1990s. Sarah, Senator Booker wants to bring you to Washington, but first, we need to secure the evidence. Sarah gave all the recordings, documents, and patient files to Rodriguez. After Rodriguez examined them, he was shocked. Sarah, this operation is huge. It's not limited to Chicago. There's a nationwide network here. What do you mean? The death patterns we see in this hospital are also appearing in other cities. Miami, Los Angeles, Boston. The same method is being used everywhere. While Rodriguez sent the evidence to a secure location, he gave Sarah bad news. Margaret Thompson died this morning. The report says cardiac arrest. Sarah's world collapsed. She felt guilty for not being able to save Margaret. What will Senator Booker do? He'll organize a special congressional hearing, but first we need to gather more evidence. In Washington, Senator Booker presented Sarah's evidence to the Healthcare Committee. Committee members were outraged when they learned that Korean and Vietnam veterans were specifically being targeted. This is a betrayal of our nation's heroes, Booker said in the committee. These men fought for our freedom, and now they are being murdered in their own hospitals. The committee established a special task force. With a joint operation by the FBI, CDC, and Inspector General, similar operations across the country began to be investigated. Sarah was placed in the Witness Protection Program and gave detailed testimony to the committee. This isn't just insurance fraud, she told the committee. This is a systematic attack on America's most valuable generation. Booker's investigation revealed shocking results. Similar operations existed in 12 cities. More than 200 suspicious deaths were identified. Korean and Vietnam veterans, Pearl Harbor survivors, and important figures from the Cold War era had been targeted.
The operation had been growing continuously for 15 years. "This is our nation's history," Booker said at a press conference. "These people are the generation that made America what it is today. What's being done to them is an attack on all of us."
The investigation led by Booker became one of the biggest healthcare scandals in American history. Dr. Hayes and 47 accomplices were arrested. Sarah received the Congressional Medal of Honor and was honored by Booker as the true hero of American healthcare. "Ms. Mitchell," Booker said at the award ceremony, "thanks to your courage, this nation's most valuable generation has been protected. Korean War veterans, Vietnam veterans, Cold War heroes are now safe." The scandal accelerated healthcare reforms. The Veterans Healthcare Protection Act, led by Booker, introduced harsh penalties for crimes specifically targeting elderly veterans. Sarah continued to play an active role in committee work. "This wasn't just a hospital issue," she said in her final speech. "This was an attack on America's values, history, and heroes." Margaret Thompson's family was compensated, and a Veteran Healthcare Foundation was established in Margaret's name. Dr. Hayes received a life sentence. In his final words in court, he said, "We were just doing business." Booker responded, "Killing America's heroes isn't business, it's treason." A year after the scandal, Senator Booker visited Chicago General Hospital. The hospital had been completely reorganized and was now known as the Margaret Thompson Veterans Wing. Sarah now worked in hospital administration, serving in a special unit that ensured the safety of veteran patients. "Senator," Sarah said, "sometimes one person's courage can change the system." "No, Sarah," Booker replied. "Two people's courage. You discovered the truth, I gave it a voice. Together, we protected America's most valuable generation." The memorial plaque in the hospital bore these words: "This memorial is dedicated to Margaret Thompson and all veterans who served our nation in the Korean and Vietnam Wars. Their sacrifice will not be forgotten. Their safety will be protected." And underneath, a small note: "Truth always finds someone brave enough to speak it. Senator Cory Booker and Nurse Sarah Mitchell." Thus, the horrific truth discovered by a nurse in the silence of night, combined with Senator Booker's pursuit of justice, transformed into a reform that protected America's most respected generation. Ending. Truth spoke, justice was served, and America's heroes were finally safe.